galvanized lines is the line from the curb stop into the house. So, I mean, I don't want anybody to, be afraid that they got lead in their water, because these are strictly galvanized lines. We do not have any lead service lines in service. But the state of Michigan and the EPA requires that, this is something that came down the pipe just a few years ago, that the municipalities are responsible for the replacement of those lines from the curb stop to the house, which is something that no community has ever had to do, but the Flint water crisis that everyone remembers hearing about kind of forced their hand to make that rule. But, just, yeah, just so everybody's clear, we do not have any truly lead service lines to serve feeding anyone's home. We eliminated every one of them. All the water mains that had lead joints, lead packing joints, have long been replaced. We have none of them left in town. 2014, I think we got the rest of them out. Those water mains date back to 1892, so that old stuff is gone. And from those, we either have a plastic or a copper service line running up to the curb stop. And there's a handful of houses that still have galvanized going into their house. So. But Josh will stay on top of that, and when that comes around, I'm sure that we'll apply for the funding and get it done. It'd be a much smaller project than what we had in the last couple of years, so. Anything else? I hear nothing. Thank you.
Thanks, Scott. We'll be back. Tom Taylor is not here, so we're gonna move on to Mike.
Planning?
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry, yeah. Bud, Rosie, Gloria? Who's up?
I think Rosie said she was gonna do it today.
Go ahead, Rosie.
It was a very short meeting. Patty was in Argentina and Tom was called in about the last minute, but we've got a lot more studying to do on this up here that has to do working with the county. So we tabled it until next month, and it was like our meeting was over in about 55 minutes. But we just all agreed that it should be tabled till we do some more intensive reading and studying of the whole process.
Thank you, Rosie.
You're welcome.
Okay, now Mike, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I went to the last planning meeting. I'm trying to get a planning commissioner, and I think I might have a taker, interested in getting on county planning and zoning. It's a very important committee, and I feel that since we've given our planning and zoning to the county, we should have a seat at the table. And I know our chairman of the county commissioners agrees with me too. So I think if we can get someone from planning, they definitely have my support and the chairman's support. And pretty sure we can get them in. So I know a couple of them are interested, still thinking about it. Okay, well, I wanted to say something. I can't stay for the meeting, Scott, but when I came to this town 33 years ago, it was, I came there and it was in the condition it was in. It needed a lot of love. And this is so much better of a town than it was when I came here 33 years ago. I know a big part of it is Scott Decker. Now some DPWs that just maintain, but we're talking about, looking forward, getting grants, moving the ball forward and making things better, not just maintaining, and that's something Scott's done, and I applaud you for it. This town looks so much better than it did when I got here 33 years ago. People are wondering about these boxes here. So these, there was a grant to the Berry County, Community Drug Task Force. And they got a grant for a couple hundred of these, and I'm helping distribute them in Nashville. I've already put some of these out. Now, what are these for? They're lock boxes for medicine, which could be, the reason they gave it is for like medical marijuana, maybe not medical marijuana. But my neighbor, they call me every time happens with their dog or child. I'm a chiropractor, for some reason, I might know. But their dog ate their marijuana gummies. And the dog was having trouble standing and trying to eat everything in sight.
I would think so.
Yeah.
Pretty hungry.
So, you know, pets, children, you know, it's got a key, you can lock it, it's free. And if you don't like it, you give it back to me and I'll double your money back. But, you know, I thought this would be a good tackle box. But I've got, anyone who wants one, I've got enough. Does anyone here want one? Every meeting I've gone to, at least 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7 people have wanted one, so don't be shy. They're free.
Mike, I might take one.
This one's yours. And I got another one right here, and I got a car full of them.
I'll
for
take
you.
it. I'll take this one, but.
You take that one. Is anyone else interested? I got a whole car full. But hey, just let me know, you know, if you're shy about
Pretty neat.
it. You know, I do have, you know, as many people in this room, I have them in my car. One last thing, I did see it in the paper. Did you take that picture of the garden covered up? And mentioning the garden received 2 grants. One for $7,000 from the Berry County United Way, and the other one for $600 from Farm Bureau for soil. So, now I was at the Commission on Aging meeting, and they were boasting that they got $9,000 from the Berry County Community Foundation for the Commission on Aging, which is a much bigger organization. I didn't say anything. I'm thinking, damn, we're just the garden. We got 7,000. And so thrilled about that. We're gonna have enough money to get shed, all the tools we need, fencing and stuff. Soil. I drove up to Farm Bureau today and talked to them about it. I learned today. I was a biology major. I learned today that worms lay eggs, and that they hatch from eggs. I didn't know that. I guess I never thought about it. I just thought they divided in half or something like that. But yeah, so I even learned something. They didn't teach me that in college. So we'll need worms. If anyone knows where to get worm eggs, because we're gonna have soil. Okay. Any questions for me? Sorry, I can't stay. I have to go to another meeting.
What color are the eggs?
Do you know? I mean, do you know the answer?
No, I don't. I thought maybe they told you. Cause I go out and look for it.
Do you go look for them?
Not today, it's getting dark. Maybe tomorrow.
I'm kinda guessing they're kinda small.
I bet they are.
Oh, what?
Nightcrawlers might be a little bigger, but.
Which end does the egg come out of?
So.
Or does it come out the side? I don't know. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Scott knows. That's Scott.
Like I do
He
a,
works
knows?
in the dirt.
any new talk, movement, whatever on our new jail.
Yeah.
On a new jail or anything, is there any whispers or?
Oh yeah, I mean, I'll talk about what I can talk about. So you know we did put aside about $5,600,000 into a fund, but it's gonna be a $35 million or so project. It hasn't been finalized yet, but I really think, that's what I'm saying, if I'm saying this, it's just me saying this, because all the commissioners have not jointly voted on
I
this.
understand.
I think we're gonna see a millage in the fall.
Standalone?
You know, when you say standalone,
By itself, not paired with
see,
something
that's
else.
the
like it
problem,
was
is there's
last
gonna
time.
be 2 others. There's gonna be, 911's gonna be in the spring. I think Charlton Park's okay, but you're gonna have, I'm thinking there's 5 voted on county, millages, so you've also got transportation will be in the fall. And I'm missing one. 911's in the spring, but there's gonna be 2 other ones, so maybe the best time's in the spring, but I know, that Dave Jackson, who's, the chairman of the commissioners, feels that the Thornapple Manor millage is gonna end. You know, it has run itself out, and he just thought if we could somehow put it end to end, it wouldn't seem like an extra burden to the public. This is just discussion, once again.
Mhm.
This is not any decision that's been made. Just don't put it in the paper, you know, Dave will be mad. And, but I'm just telling you that right now, you know as much as I know. I know we looked at some pieces of property, none of them work out. I really think it needs to be where it's at.
Yeah, there's room there.
I know that your boss, Fred Jacobs, he would really like to see that property turned into commercial. But then, we've looked and we don't see other real suitable property that's, in a good location and big enough and level enough to do everything that needs to be done. But yeah, so I know it's almost symbolic of 5,600,000, we intend to spend that all on it, but it's not, we need 7 times more than that. The discussions are also coming up on, you've heard all these solar panel discussions.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I know no one likes that idea, but I think that Johnstown project down in Johnstown Township, along the power lines, they're gonna put in 1,000 acres of solar panels.
Wow.
On the old Halbert Dairy, you seen that Halbert Dairy? Yeah, because that big transmission line that comes across 66, right about the county border. There's 3 parts of energy. There's generation, which could be, some nuclear power plant or solar panels or windmill. Then there's transmission, which is getting it to where it's gonna go, and then, I never remember the right name, I always say dispersion, but it's delivery. Thank you, why can't I remember that? But that's the 3 parts of this. Like if you made it here in Nashville, you'd have to move it all the way down to those power lines. So they bought up a lot of land along those power lines, and I think other companies may do that too. I met with them, they said they're not gonna develop anything north of that, Consumers Energy one, because it's too far from the power lines. They're also gonna keep those dairy cows because they want the manure and urine, and they're gonna pipe it all into their biodigester, which will make methane. Now, I don't know if that's green energy or brown energy. But that will create, if we take the payment in lieu of taxes and such, the taxes on it will be $7,000 per megawatt, and it's planning to produce 140 megawatts, that's $980,000. 42% of that would go to the county. So there's opportunities there to talk about maybe, to have some funding come out of that. Now I know there's just some people, they're gonna die to stop this from happening. Lay down in front of the whatever, I don't know if there's really bulldozers or what they do, but it's their property, they own it, and now we can't even use our zoning to stop it because they've moved that all to the Public Service Commission. So we can't really do anything about large-scale solar farms now, or windmills.
You know nothing about it.
Yeah, but that's, more money, so, that jail, 35 million, you gotta figure out how to come up with it, but that is a discussion of, there's already 2 other millages in the fall. Then, that may, voters don't like this, I get cranky. I mean, if there's more than 1 millage, I get cranky. Especially, I just got my taxes now, it's kinda looking what it all costs, so. Any other questions?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, yes.
Has anybody here actually researched what solar panels, the effects of solar panels do?
That's part of the discussion, is,
That it actually affects the weather and that they're toxic?
Yeah.
That it put off
Yeah.
radiant waves?
that's been in discussion too, and also remediation when it's all over. They've got to have the money for the remediation of this, and, it does things too, and it
So
creates
how do
heat.
we remediate the weather
Yeah.
effects?
We'll have to talk to consumers, but I
Oh,
think it creates
but
more.
there's nothing we
I'm
can
not
do?
consumer.
Nothing we can do.
The
It's
problem
all about
is,
the money?
it's their property, they have the property right to do that, and it could have only been stopped by local zoning. Like, our zoning board had the ability to
So
stop it.
evidently we need new people on zoning.
No, the problem is it took it away from local control.
Yep.
And the latest bills have put that now, because too many things were being stopped, you know, by local zoning, so now it's gone to the state's Public Service Commission. And they make that decision now, overriding local control.
So the state took it away from our zone.
The state took it away. So, you know, that's a bill
So
they
what's
just
that tell us?
Huh?
What's
Well,
that tell
you
us?
gotta vote for different people in government.
Thank you
That's,
very
that's
much.
what it tells you.
Yeah.
But,
Yes,
Amen.
thank
Yeah.
you, amen.
but they've done a lot of gun control stuff, they've done a lot of,
Stuff's infuriating when you're awake.
yeah.
Okay, Mike, thank you very much. We
All right.
appreciate it. Tell me you can't stay.
Yep, gotta go. Remember, if you need to lock up something from your pet or your grandkids or.
Yes.
Thank you, Mike.
See you.
Okay.
Have a good evening, Mike.
Bye-bye.
Okay, we are audience questions and comments. A few new faces here tonight, so our guidelines for public comment is on that board right there.
You asked for
So,
questions.
questions or comments?
I do.
Go ahead. Name and,
Hi, my
in
name's
case you know who you are.
Rick Osborne. I live on 710 Kellogg Street, just outside of Nashville Village. Sorry about my appearance, but I look and smell a little foul because I just took care of my chickens and ducks and didn't have a chance to eat. Now, first of all, Scott, thank you. You've done a wonderful job in this town. I've been here for 40 years. It's great. But part of the reason I'm here is to keep it looking great. And I have a quick statement I'd like to share, and then I'll be on my way. Good evening, village council members. A few weeks ago, we had a Nashville resident dump furniture alongside the road, almost into the river, just outside in the village limits, next to the pull-off in the road overlooking the river. I contacted Chris from National PD. He advised me that it was outside of his jurisdiction. I called the state police. They said all they could do was talk to them, even though I have the evidence to where it came from and whose vehicle it was used to transport this furniture. I have contacted the DNR, they don't deal with it. So I got in contact with a conservation officer. He said he would make a few phone calls. I'm not looking for help cleaning it up. I'm looking for prosecution. These same individuals have been dumping furniture and garbage all over the countryside. Box Springs to the mattresses from my place is on Mason Road near the Thornapple River. I'm here to ask y'all to work with us to stop these people from doing it. The conversation officer, informed me that they plan cleaning up the state property across the river from me that is just past Carl's Supermarket and putting some nice walking trails, and they use the property for educational purposes. If we continue to let these individuals get away with this, I know the people, and I'm telling you right now, they will start using it for their next dumping grounds. This is unacceptable. Excuse me a second while I move down. This spring, when it floods, this furniture will be in the river. You can see it from the Castleton Township Hall on Reed Street. This is a danger to our wildlife and to our environment. So what do y'all say? Will you help me return this furniture, or can you take possession of it so that, because, since how you all didn't have jurisdiction, I brought it into town for you. I would like to ask you guys to take possession of it as evidence so you guys can help me prosecute these people. The house is down, the question where it came from is down here by the school. There's junk all over the place. They're dumping it all over my countryside. Why is this happening? Why is it still coming out in 100 yards past village limits and you're calling jurisdiction? Come on, Chris, you come out there all the time. Why is it you can't come out there and deal with this?
If I call and they say go handle something, then that's permission to go out there and handle it. They said that they would handle this.
They
So
didn't get handled.
I can't override them,
Okay.
just like they can't come in here and override me.
But you didn't call them. I had to do it.
Because when you called me,
Mhm.
my first initial was, I found out if our DPW does stuff like that. We don't do that, especially with it outside the village. Then I called Road Commission to see if they did anything. They said, no, we don't pick up stuff. So I called Berry County first to ask dispatch, does anybody go clean up roadside? And they said no. So that's when I called you back and said, hey, you're gonna have to call it into dispatch as a dumping complaint, and they will either send me, them, or the state police, whoever goes. They chose not to send me, so the state police are handling it, and the complaint, if they're not handling it properly, is with the state police.
See, I didn't.
I can't go out there unless they say you have permission to go out there.
Okay.
So it's unfortunately, my hands are tied. I can't just go out there and say, I'm gonna do this.
Well, it's back in your jurisdiction, where do you guys like it? I'm not taking it back out to my place. It was dumped in my neighborhood, from this town, because somebody is not doing their job here. People are living in that house illegally.
Hold on,
That's
first of all,
up to the landlord. The landlord is.
Well, let's take it down to the landlord and give it to him. Will
first
you
of
help
all,
me do that? Will you guys help me do that?
I don't,
Help me dispose of it?
all right, well, way past the 3 minutes, but here, we're gonna finish here.
Okay, thank you, sir. I
Um,
appreciate that.
Personally, my initial response was, yeah, let's do that for him, but I don't know if that's the right answer. I don't know what the right answer is. I don't think it is. I wish you hadn't have done that. I wish you would've said, hey, could you, if you would've maybe approached us and said, I need to talk to you about an issue, and then we could sit down and talk about it. But
Try to come
bringing
up
it
with a
into
solution.
town, I don't know, man. I don't know.
See, that's the thing, it's never, that has happened, how many times? It never gets nowhere. How many times have we heard about people stuff that gets dumped, and we complain and nothing gets done? No, that's not working anymore, we have to try something different. I'm coming down here publicly to ask all of you publicly. If you're not gonna do it, that means you're sending a clear and present message that that people are allowed to go and dump wherever they want.
You have to remember, Chris, I'm sure.
Okay,
very-
Chris, it's out of
Chris
Chris's
was very
hands.
helpful
We
to
moved
try to
on.
get you some answers. Maybe an answer still is forthcoming, but you just can't think.
He
we're
was
not
more
taking-
concerned about the cleanup. I'm more concerned about the prosecution of these people, so they stop doing it.
How about we just worry about the cleanup right now, so it's not in the river?
Okay, it is cleaned up. How about
Maybe
the prosecution? I've got the evidence, I've got the witnesses, I've got the tire tracks, I've got the matching tires, I got the vehicle, I've done all your work for you.
Have you given all that information to the trooper?
They wouldn't take it.
Okay, have you?
I told them I had all that,
It's
she
always
would
like
not
this.
take it.
If she doesn't, she has a boss. You can always.
I tried.
Okay. You can, if you want, I can try, if you give me her name, I can try to find out who her supervisor is and get you an email. And
Okay.
you can email them and say, I feel as if this is my complaint number, this is where it happened, this is when it happened, this is not being handled to my satisfaction.
Okay.
Then if you don't reach that, you can say, I want your supervisor, and you can go up until,
Let's do it.
hopefully.
Hey, let's do it. I wanna work together with you, man.
I wanna work
I
with you
do.
too,
Let's
man.
do it, cause I
I
think
just-
you and I could really help each other. with the
But
community.
we have to, I have to make sure that we follow the steps, so they know. So, once we're done here, I will get the information of the trooper that did it. I will go make some calls and see who that person's supervisor is and get an email for them to get back to you
Okay.
before this is over done tonight.
Okay.
So you can call them and say, this is not being taken care of, I want it taken care of. Okay?
Okay, and we can work on prosecution.
Okay,
They can go from there, so
All
I'll
right,
get,
What do I
I'll
do
get
with
that.
furniture then, cause it's not going back to my.
all right, let me,
It's not
I'm
gonna
gonna
be-
ask council. Casey had an excellent idea, and I think it's a great idea. Council, let's offer him to take it to the transfer station, I don't mean tonight, at no charge.
The old dump there.
You okay with that,
Well,
Jeff?
it's
It's
not
in
the
your
old
truck.
one.
It's a transfer.
Yeah.
station.
Just bring it back to my place tonight, drop it off, and I'll take it tomorrow. All right?
Rick.
I'm okay with
Do
that.
you
wanna,
You wanna keep it for evidence for the trooper?
I would like to keep it for evidence, yes, but I don't want it in my place.
Well, if you take it there, once you take it there, it's in there
Then
and
it
it's
can't-
hit.
Take pictures.
Now, if you don't take it tomorrow and you wanna wait till they look at it for evidence, the offer is still there to take it back there.
Didn't they
Okay.
already
It's
say
not
they
a,
didn't-
it's not a, this has to be there tomorrow, it's over.
Okay, cool, yeah, that'd be
Rick?
great.
Did they not already say they wouldn't come and investigate it though?
No,
Yeah,
I didn't say that, I said that,
The
I'm
state
gonna
police?
give them the number to see if they
The
will
state
come back
police?
No,
out.
they've already said they won't.
I'm
State
gonna give you the
police.
supervisor's number
Okay,
to see if the supervisor will send her trooper back out,
okay.
or his trooper back out,
That's pretty fair.
to go, and then keep it, and then if this all gets settled and they don't do anything or whatever, and you still want it gone, come to the village meeting, or the village office, you don't even have to come to a council meeting, just come to the village office, say, hey, I'm ready to dump it, we'll set it up and get it done, alright?
Yeah, well, I think that's
Perfect.
I'm sorry I had to come down here,
But
but.
This is what this is
Just for the future, Rick,
Okay.
if you wanna make a bold move like that, talk to Chris first, or talk to Josh, perhaps before the end of the month, talk to Scott.
From now
Call,
on,
call the office.
I will from now
Call
on.
Johnny.
We're just
Up
good
until this
together,
point, I
man.
have not been able to do that because Chris has not been receptive to helping me up until this point. You really haven't. I've asked you problems about other stuff and I've had, it's
Okay.
like stonewall.
Take,
So,
take your stuff back, so you got
Okay.
the evidence.
Before we're done today, I'll get that for me for the meeting's over, okay?
thanks.
Alright.
Okay, cool, alright, next?
Thank you.
Just like to make a quick statement, that's what I wanted to say, I think it's pretty fair.
Yeah.
Number one, let's get rid of the junk, if we gotta hold it for another day or two.
Yeah.
Fine and dandy, I think it's awesome that
Yeah.
that's what I was gonna ask, is there a place you can help us get rid of it?
That'd be the only place.
And that's the other issue, I mean,
I need to hold on to it until
It's
somebody
not
comes
going as fast
investigate.
as you want
I
with the
think,
law,
I think
but-
Chris is, wants you to do that big time, so if you.
I'll do that. I can do that. Thank you very much, everybody. I appreciate it.
and that's one other issue too that really should be looked into, because I mean, you know, if these people aren't held accountable, it's just like Rick said, they are, it's giving them, you know, basically permission to go around and dump everything, and then it's our responsibility to clean this stuff up. This stuff is in the river, I mean, you know,
And see, I don't know if you guys know this, I've been talking to a conservation
You need to
officer.
prosecute
that's in
these
charge of
people.
The state property, you know what I'm talking about?
Okay.
They're leasing that from the DNR. They got leased until 2027, I believe,
Yes.
and that's option for another 10 years. They wanna clean all that up this spring, make some really nice hiking trails in there, make some educational stuff. We need to keep that stuff cleaned
Okay.
up, you know?
Okay, gentlemen, we're gonna move on and,
Okay.
We've had our.
Thank you.
Thank you.
oh yeah, we need, anybody that spoke, Casey needs your
Yeah, I'm
name.
Robert Jordan, I'm a resident, 720 Durkee Street.
It's just to put in the minutes, you know. And what's your question, was?
What was your name?
Jeff, kill.
I'm Robert at 720 Durkee, it's a Jeff Gill.
Thank you.
What's that? Good job, Council. Good job, Casey. Public hearing, we have none. Unfinished business, we have none. The one item under new business is the police and Vanderbrink proposals for the Putnam Park improvements for the Sparks grant. Scott?
Okay, I think everybody has a copy of their proposal. We typically, wouldn't do this, but with this Spark grant, it's a requirement that we have a proposal. Felicia Vanderbrink, as many of you know, have been our engineers for at least 25 years, so. They are the ones that actually assisted Casey and I in the application process, did the, conceptual drawing and everything, so. But anyway, they've offered their services, to design and go through all the steps to make this project complete. And they have laid out in this proposal, every step of the design engineering, the bidding, the construction engineering, and basically inspections. They've already actually started with a survey, so they've got a portion of that done, and they'd like to get that done so we can move forward in the spring. You can move forward in the spring, Josh and everybody, with, getting this thing off the ground, so. I don't see any reason that we shouldn't, accept their proposal and go with them like we have for many, many years in the past. I would answer any questions if anybody has them, if I can on this, yes, Jerry.
Is this the amount that was in the original Sparks proposal?
It's actually slightly, less.
Yeah.
Less, okay. I couldn't find my notes from.
I know, when you look at that originally, you're like, oh wow, but when you look at the actual, like, the part that we submitted for the application, it's less than that.
Right.
Okay, that was my question.
Yeah, and it is provided on a lump sum basis, so there's no, you know, if they're here extra hours or whatever, it doesn't matter. It's all covered under this. I think the scope is laid out pretty clearly, you know, pre-designed topography survey, which again, they have started. Your typical projects, government projects, when engineers bid them, they'll put about 15% of their total cost on it. If you can do the math on this, you'll see this is less than 15%. So it's well within the reasonable amounts that, and their fees are paid for through the Spark grant, so it's not like there's any out of pocket. But some projects do, some projects require we pay them out of pocket. It's not grant eligible, but this one is not, so. Yeah, unless someone has any questions, it's my recommendation that we accept this in case you fire out a letter to Rick and keep this ball rolling, so.
I'll make a motion to accept the police and Vanderbrink
proposal for the Putnam Park improvements from the Sparks grant.
It's a motion and a support to authorize police and bank and bring to proceed. Any other discussions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. There's no committee reports tonight, so we'll go right to roundtable. Sherry?
Merry Christmas, congratulations, Scott.
Thank you, Sharon.
Have some fun.
I will.
Enjoy the new year, I guess.
Thanks, Sherry.
Yeah, happy holidays, Merry Christmas to everybody. Enjoy their big brother. And
It's all up to
sister,
her.
I'm happy for you guys.
Yeah.
It's gonna be weird.
Thank you, Laura.
Johnny?
Well, I'd like to thank Lori for doing such a fantastic job on the Christmas parade. That was one of the, probably the biggest parade we've ever had, isn't it?
I think
It was
so.
beautiful.
It was huge.
Really.
It was
I couldn't believe
awesome.
it.
Good job.
Thank you.
I know how much work it is. Messy when you have people like me come in at the last minute.
Yeah, put me in there.
Can we do a hillbilly float next year? I'll bring my chickens and ducks and geese and turkeys.
Just light it up.
I'll say my thanks for Scott here in a little bit.
Henry?
Well, I wanna say that too. Scott, I met you in 1980 when you were working with your dad at the
Yeah.
gas station and stuff, and I've known you a long time. And you've been a super guy. Talking and doing things together, and I'm gonna miss you.
Yeah.
But I'll still see you around, but
You will, buddy.
good job. Enjoy your retirement with your family, your lovely wife.
Thank you, so, thank you.
Take care.
Thank you
That's all
all.
I got, man.
Thank you, Henry. Of course, like, again, kudos to Lori about the parade. It's the holiday season and, you know, we all of us love this time of year. And like Johnny, I'll say some comments here in just a few minutes. So before we adjourn, you can't go, you have to stay. Doc hit it pretty good. Where we have come from in our infrastructure, how things are done around here. Scott's the best. We're gonna miss him. He's just like me and a lot of us in here. We were born and raised and lived in this town, except for a couple years in the Army. I know him and his staff love this town just like all of us in here. Scott?
Thank you, buddy.
You bet. Congratulations. Johnny?
Well, Mike, give me the honor of, giving this plaque to you for your 38 years of service. That's incredible.
Yep.
And they were good years, buddy.
Thanks, buddy.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Appreciate it, Johnny.
You're very welcome.
All
Speech.
right. I'm not very good at that.
Yeah, right.
Very good at that. Well, like Henry said, man, I worked at my dad's gas station, who also was owned by my grandfather.
Yep.
And, you know, I'm proud of my sister for the business she has. You know, I think we've got a nucleus here that will carry on everything that we've started. You know. This man right here will make that happen. 100% sure of that.
So early.
So, that being said, man, it's not always been pleasurable, I can't lie. But it truly has been an honor to work in my town. Even when I quit this job and went somewhere else, I still was in my town. I appreciate this. Coffee and cake.
Okay. We need a motion and a support to adjourn.
Quick motion adjourn.
Or. We have a motion and support to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. opposed nay, motion carried, we are adjourned.
Back in a minute.
Everybody stick around if you can, we got stuff.
Phone call away. That's trooper, it was a female, right? Day shift, so that should be her, sergeant. Nope, this is, it's a male, it's Trooper Eric Dash. Just email him, just say, hey, I have concerns, my wife case, I don't think it's being this, that, and the other, all your concerns put in there, and just put your contact information so you can contact you. No problem.
I really, this is
I know the house. Yeah, they're supposed to be getting out, it's the landlord trying to make his moves to get them in and out, so. Get the red truck? Okay, you have a witness that saw him do it?
No, and it's Steve. He told me about the other thing, he and the witness said the mattress, Rick gave Jim a mattress. Replace the one that I had. And,